Let's bring in our guest, Nirali Bhatia, founder of Cyber App, an anti-cyber bullying organization. And we're also being joined by Vipul Agarwal. We are being joined by Kanish Kaur, Managing Director of Protivity. Kanish, coming first to you. First of all, what is the accountability of social media companies? Now, after this case has gone to the court, after the family has suffered this grave, irreversible situation where they've lost a child, they are coming and saying that some of the content was avoidable. But what steps do they take to ensure that youngsters and those of impressionable age group are not exposed to such content in the first place?
So today, social media companies are using multiple algorithms to monitor content and take down content as well. If you look at companies like Meta, they have set up safety standards, one for reporting and also for blocking the kind of content. What is clearly missing is digital literacy, which would be required for people to report this kind of content. Now, today, technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning is being used to monitor such content, but it's impossible for platforms to monitor everything because the kind of content which is generated and when it goes viral. For somebody like the person who got impacted, it's very important. Basic hygiene training are provided for teenagers, specifically the vulnerable group, to ensure that they know basic criteria of what to watch, what not to watch, what kind of content.
But Kanish, that's too much of an ask of a youngster. I mean, considering that there has to be accountability of these big companies that are doling out these content without any filters. I want to bring in Nirali over here. Nirali, what steps can be taken against these companies, considering that as I read the case and some of the details that came up, there was content that she was not even asking for, which was being thrown up on the side. Now, that's completely a clear violation, especially when we are dealing with youngsters, so impressionable.
Absolutely. So, see, the algorithms work in a way that if you like any particular video, if you like any specific content, it starts showing you similar content. So, same way, if first time you've come across something accidentally and inquisitively you've watched, or by choice you have watched, and you like it, it starts showing you more and more and more such content, which can reiterate the thoughts that a very young child may be having, maybe just exploring, and a lot of, that romanticizing, the way it is presented could reiterate the thoughts which are not so positive for them. So if these algorithms are built in a way that they are going to see what we like, that means they know that what kind of content am I looking at. There is also a very high probability that they can monitor this and they can take accordingly the right step. If they are seeing that this account is repetitively looking up for content which is self-harm based or which is not appropriate, they can make sure that, the algorithms do not work as they are intended to, for the marketing's sake, they are intended to work. So, of course,
Correct.
The accountability does lie with them as well.
Yes, because Kanish, the point here is that this is not content that is, something which is a pleasant content that you would imagine anybody wanting to constantly view. This is dangerous content of self-harm. Then shouldn't the algorithms, if there are such brilliant IT minds working on those algorithms and the way they are formulated, shouldn't they already find a means of filter that if somebody is searching for this kind of self-harm content, there has to be a red line drawn, and that at some stage there are blocks that stop a person from viewing this content?
Maha, such techniques already exist, but the algorithms, the bots which are used for them to detect all that content and block, it's very difficult. There are norms which have been set, plus there have to be regulations specifically from government in terms of covering this, because these companies are big companies and every time the laws will change and the content has to be moderated according to the geography. So if you look at what's happened in UK, you require stronger policy norms with not just one social media company, but larger social media companies, tech companies could follow. So blaming a specific tech company saying that, okay, you are not moderating the content, I think that will is too much of going after one company. You require larger safety norms which are, missing in the society today. It's just not a issue about UK or Europe. It's globally, because the way these companies have grown, they are producing content. Though for them to detect what is harmful purely using tech science, I think it's going to be a challenge, because content gets uploaded in seconds every day. So you require stronger policy norms to make these companies accountable and also impose penalties and fine. So better governance is.
I completely agree with you, Kanishk, that there should be stricter norms and they should be enforced by governments. But don't the companies themselves have any sort of, ethical, frame to follow? A framework to follow on their own. I mean, that will
vary. That varies. See, that varies. Now, if you look at Instagram today, Instagram, you could be an influencer, you could be a professional, you could be a content creator, right? There are various versions. People don't know the basics in terms of what kind of content they are watching, who can access their profile. So basic training on online content, aggregation, dissemination, those are things that have to be taught as part of curriculum today in schools, because most of the education today is happening online, and these tech companies are also involved in a lot of tech education.
I get your point, Kanishk, but again, we are putting too much onus on the person who's consuming this. My question is about the ethics of the company that is allowing this content to reach a certain age group, whatever age group it may be. As far as self-harm content is concerned, it's only possibly a depressed person looking for it, isn't it? And therefore, shouldn't, my question was, algorithms be made in such a way that at least this dangerous content is not able to reach people after a particular point? I don't know how it can be carried out, Nirali, but can you help us understand if that is a possibility at all?
So, from my experience of working in the tech industry for almost 2 decades, as well as in the psychological field, I believe it's very much possible. It is all about intent. Like I earlier also mentioned, that if you are monitoring what I'm liking and you're giving me similar content, that means you can set a filter that if I'm liking something that does not meet a criteria of safety, define those criteria. And this is global. It's not even country specific, or it's not even area specific. These are common criteria. So they should not be difficult to build up. And then those algorithms can route in such a way that while the one side algorithm is, once I searched for self-harm content, now I'm flooded with more and more such content, it should also throw a red flag that this account is having access to a lot of self-harm content. When we look at her case, 16,000 plus such videos were saved. So it is absolutely not acceptable when, the tech companies have to say that, look, we cannot monitor. It's not acceptable at all. There are 100 types of codes and, possibilities where they can do that. If you cannot filter for everyone, because it could be a different age group and a different purpose for which they are browsing this kind of content, but at least throw a flag that there is too much of the content of similar nature which is not appropriate or which is not safe is being watched or is being saved at some particular account. So we can have these flags.
Kanishk, many people are calling this as a tobacco moment as far as social media is concerned. Do you think that this could actually lead to that sort of a situation where social media companies are made more accountable?
Definitely, we need social media companies to become accountable, but that has to come through self-regulation. A lot of times, these companies have to set up teams, large teams, because if you're just purely dependent on technology, bots, AI, ML detecting, that is going to be very difficult. So they will have to increase their trust and safety team. They will have to increase how this is built in as part of their design, safety as part of design, privacy as part of design. These are something which these tech companies will have to build on, so that safety is there. So like what Nirali pointed out today, that content could automatically be saying, okay, if you are below a specific age group, this could be harmful to you. We have seen some of the other companies such as Netflix bringing out those keywords when they are putting out content where it talks about self-injury, harm. But those flags have to really come out. And I think that would require these companies to build some of these algorithms by design and at the same time create more awareness in the society, right? What's required. So you require greater investment by these tech companies on safety of the vulnerable group, specifically women and children.
Absolutely, and especially in a case where it can lead to self-harm, as in this case, there certainly need to be algorithms, filters, whatever the IT sector believes can actually help in preventing any such unfortunate case. Many thanks, Ganesh and Nirali, both of you, for joining us here on this discussion.